Have you ever wondered how your actions today could shape the future of your family, your relationships, and your happiness? What if the choices you make now could lead to a life of peace, or, conversely, a path of regret and loneliness in the years to come? This is a story that serves as a wake-up call, a poignant reminder about trust, family, and the decisions that define our lives. Today, we delve into a tale that uncovers the bitter consequences of a father's missteps, the painful lessons he learned in the twilight of his life, and the importance of making mindful choices. If you haven't already, consider subscribing and activating the notification bell so you won't miss videos like this. Your support means the world to me, and if you enjoy this content, you can help spread these valuable lessons by liking and sharing this video. Your feedback is crucial. Please comment 1 if you find this topic engaging, or 0 if you think it could be improved. Now let's begin. First and foremost, never reveal your spouse's financial situation to others. Money is far more than just a measure of material wealth. It carries deep emotional significance. It can be the foundation of dreams and aspirations, but it can also ignite conflicts, foster misunderstandings, and even tear relationships apart. I speak from personal experience. There was a time when I nearly lost everything that mattered to me, my family, my peace of mind, because of how issues surrounding money and family intertwined. It was a costly lesson, but one I hold close to this day. Some things I've learned are better left unsaid, even with those closest to you. Silence can often be the best safeguard for harmony. In my family, I have 4 brothers and 1 sister. Each of us has forged our own path, but we remain connected by the threads of our shared upbringing. For the past 20 years, my wife and I have lived in the bustling city, building a life together. Meanwhile, my siblings have stayed in the countryside, leading simpler, seemingly more stable lives. While they've gradually built their wealth, my wife and I, though not destitute, have lived modestly, carefully managing our earnings and savings to get by. This stability, however, became the source of my greatest misfortune. It began subtly. A phone call here, a small request there. My youngest brother would ask to borrow money for various reasons: property taxes, car repairs, medical bills. The list went on. At first, I didn't think twice. I lent him the money out of pity, trusting he'd pay it back when he could. But as time went on, the requests grew larger, and the repayments never came. What stung most was seeing him live a life of indulgence while my wife and I were struggling. He sipped coffee and designer clothes, took his family on trips, and seemed to live without a care in the world. Meanwhile, we were pinching pennies, eating cold rice for dinner, and stretching every dollar. When my wife discovered what was happening, she didn't get angry or call me a fool. Instead, she said calmly, "We worked hard for that money. We need to think carefully before lending it to anyone." Her words hit me like a splash of cold water. She was right. I had been enabling my brother's reckless behavior, not helping him. I had undermined the very values we'd worked so hard to build within our own family. I knew I had to make a change. I stopped lending him money, hoping he'd understand. Instead, his pleas became more desperate. He spun sob stories, claiming he was in the hospital or posting guilt-laden messages on social media. Each time I felt torn, but I knew that giving in would only perpetuate the cycle. It was a harsh realization. By constantly bailing him out, I wasn't helping him stand on his own. I was enabling his dependence. His debts grew, his sense of entitlement deepened, and his lifestyle remained unchanged. And in trying to shoulder his burdens, I was jeopardizing my own happiness and marriage. My wife's quiet yet firm reminder helped me see the truth. Each person must take responsibility for their own life. With that, I made the difficult decision to sever my involvement. I stopped answering his calls for money and focused on my own family. I even brought my mother to live with us, prioritizing her well-being and that of my wife and children. I've heard that my brother eventually had to sell his house to settle his debts. Part of me aches at the thought, but I know it was a lesson he needed to learn. We all have our burdens to bear, and some truths can only be grasped through hardship. If you've made it this far, thank you for staying with me. I hope these lessons resonate with you and serve as a reminder of the importance of boundaries, responsibility, and the choices we make. If you found this video valuable, please comment 1 below to let me know you're still here. The greatest mistake I made was speaking too freely, sharing too many intimate details about our family's financial situation with someone who wasn't prepared for that level of openness. Unintentionally, I painted a picture for my brother that we were wealthy, that I could be a constant safety net. That impression, though unintentional, was the first fracture in our relationship. Looking back, I realize I should have guarded our financial realities more closely, protecting not just our peace but our future. Money, after all, is a sensitive matter. When you share too much with the wrong person, it can sow misunderstandings and create rifts, even among the closest of kin. I've come to embrace a saying that carries profound wisdom. Never judge someone by their appearance, for you can never truly know the struggles they endure. Behind the facade of stability, every family hides stories of sacrifice, silent battles, and hard-earned success. What I've learned, painfully, is the importance of protecting what you've worked for. Kindness should not be confused with enabling, and helping someone doesn't always mean giving them what they ask for. Sometimes true help lies in empowering them to find their own path, to stand firmly on their own feet. That is, in fact, the greatest gift we can give. Another lesson I've learned is the importance of safeguarding your weaknesses. The bond between siblings is sacred, a connection brimming with potential for immense love and understanding. Yet, it is also fragile. Even with the best of intentions, we can inadvertently cause harm. One of the gravest errors is revealing too much of our vulnerabilities or criticizing our loved ones too openly. We often believe that honesty, especially with family, is the best policy. We think baring our souls will bring us closer or help us grow. But that isn't always the case. Sometimes words meant to heal can wound instead. I remember a family gathering where an older brother, overwhelmed by frustration, aired his grievances against his younger sibling in front of everyone. What should have been a moment of warmth turned sour as the older brother's criticism flowed with the wine. His intentions may have been good, but his delivery was not. The younger sibling, who had always admired his elder, felt humiliated, his trust shaken. A bond once strong was now fragile. This story is a poignant reminder of how easily relationships can be strained by careless words. As siblings, we grow and evolve, shaped by our own journeys. While these personal transformations make us unique, they can also create gaps in understanding. Criticism, however constructive we believe it to be, can often feel like judgment. And judgment, no matter how well-meaning, can drive a wedge between even the closest of bonds. I've learned that love and understanding require patience, empathy, and restraint. Sometimes the most loving thing we can do is to hold back, choosing our words carefully. Silence at times speaks louder than words. A small gesture of encouragement can achieve far more than a torrent of critiques ever could. True love lies in quiet support, in being a calming presence rather than a source of additional turmoil. Finally, one of the most important lessons I've learned is to respect the privacy of your partner's family. Marriage, often seen as the union of two individuals, is in truth the coming together of two worlds. When you marry someone, you inherit their family, their history, and their values. Protecting the sanctity of their family's privacy isn't just an act of love, it's a commitment to the integrity of your relationship. Let me share a story that underscores this truth. A man, Kenji, found success early in life. While many attributed it to his ambition and hard work, the truth was more nuanced. Behind Kenji's accomplishments stood his wife's family, especially her father, who had been a mentor and a generous source of support. However, Kenji's brother, Taro, viewed his success through a lens of envy. When Taro found himself in need of help, he turned to the same father-in-law who had supported Kenji. But circumstances were different, and the assistance Taro sought wasn't readily available. Instead of understanding, Taro lashed out, accusing Kenji of exploiting the family's wealth for his own gain. His accusations not only hurt Kenji, but also strained relationships between the two families, relationships that had taken years to build. This story, though extreme, highlights the delicate nature of family dynamics. Sharing private details about your partner's family, even casually, can have far-reaching consequences. What may seem insignificant to you might be deeply sensitive to others. Protecting the dignity and privacy of your partner's family is an act of respect and love. Think for a moment. How would you feel if your partner divulged private details about your family's struggles or finances? Wouldn't it feel like a betrayal? The same applies to your partner. Breaching their family's trust isn't just about broken confidences. It's about the long-term damage it can do to your relationship. These lessons, hard-won and deeply personal, have taught me the value of discretion, patience, and understanding. If you've made it this far and find these insights meaningful, let me know by leaving a comment. Your thoughts and support mean more than you know. For instance, you might not immediately see the consequences of sharing details about how your spouse's family supported them in their business ventures or during difficult times. But over time, these seemingly harmless revelations could create tension between families. Your partner might feel betrayed, not just by you, but by the very people they trust and rely on most in their life. Once trust is broken, repairing it is a monumental task, often impossible to fully accomplish. Every family has its struggles and vulnerabilities. It's easy to look at others and assume they've had an easier path, with more support or fewer obstacles. Yet, what we often fail to see are the sacrifices made, the unspoken agreements kept, and the personal battles fought behind closed doors. When we disclose intimate details about a partner's family life, we're not merely sharing information. We're inviting judgment, misunderstanding, and sometimes even resentment. Ask yourself, would you want your deepest struggles, financial troubles, or private sacrifices casually discussed with others, regardless of how it might impact your reputation or relationships? Likely not. So why treat your partner's family any differently? Their privacy deserves the same respect and protection as your own. This respect is a testament to the depth of your love and commitment. Words once spoken can never be taken back. What might seem insignificant to you could become the seed of misunderstandings, fractured relationships, and unnecessary conflict. Safeguarding your partner's family's dignity and privacy as if it were your own not only protects them, but also strengthens the love and trust within your own relationship. In some moments, silence speaks louder than words. Marriage, like any deep bond, is built not just on transparency but on the wisdom of knowing what to share and when. Some truths are better left unsaid, not out of selfishness, but out of respect for your partner. True love is as much about discretion as it is about openness. Marcus Aurelius once observed, "It is better to remain silent about things that need not be said." This principle resonates deeply in family life, where unnecessary exposure can lead to judgment or, worse, vulnerability being weaponized against us. Family is meant to be a sanctuary, not a battlefield. Protecting their privacy, nurturing trust, and showing unwavering respect creates a foundation where love and understanding can thrive. Discretion becomes the glue that binds relationships, ensuring harmony and reducing the potential for conflicts. As I reflect on this, let me share a poignant story. A story of regret, misplaced trust, and the loneliness that can accompany old age. Life, much like a song, is shaped by the notes of our decisions. Sometimes a single misstep alters the entire melody. For months now, I've lived in a small, run-down apartment, a far cry from the grand house where I once resided. That house, filled with memories, now belongs to my eldest son and his family. My move wasn't by choice, but by necessity, driven by the unbearable coldness of my daughter-in-law. Her sharp words, dismissive attitude, and blatant disdain left me no choice but to leave. At 73, my days are marked by sorrow and isolation. I once had everything: success, wealth, and a family to call my own. But in my ambition, I neglected the most important thing, my wife. She sacrificed so much for me, yet I failed to show her the love and attention she deserved. When she passed away, the guilt was crushing, a wound I'll carry forever. Determined to make amends, I vowed to cherish my children and repair the bonds I had frayed. When they suggested dividing my inheritance, I agreed without hesitation, believing it would bring us closer. My friends warned me, saying, "If you give away everything, you'll lose your authority and become dependent." But I trusted my children. Surely they wouldn't abandon their father. I divided my assets, giving the grand house to my eldest son. At first, it seemed like the right decision, but soon, everything began to unravel. My daughter-in-law, once kind and welcoming, grew cold and hostile. Her cutting remarks and icy demeanor made it clear I was no longer wanted. Hoping for refuge, I turned to my second son. While initially polite, he and his wife soon made it evident that my presence was unwelcome. Their subtle hints and dismissive actions pushed me further into despair. When I reached out to my youngest daughter, she too declined, citing lack of space. Now I find myself alone, a stranger to the family I once held dear. The choices I made, the trust I placed, all led to this bitter reality. If my story resonates with you, I urge you to think carefully about the decisions you make today. Protect what truly matters: your relationships, your trust, and your love. If you've stayed with me through this reflection, let me know by commenting 3 below. Your engagement means more than you know. I returned to my eldest son's house hoping for some sign of change, but instead, things only seemed to deteriorate further. His wife's coldness gradually morphed into open hostility. Every day became a battle, filled with snide remarks and passive-aggressive comments that made me feel like I was the sole source of the tension in their home. My eldest son, my own flesh and blood, said nothing. He didn't defend me or even acknowledge what was happening. Each time I tried to speak up, he would avoid eye contact and find an excuse to leave the room, as though I wasn't even there. The pain of being ignored by the very son I had raised was unbearable, and so one day I couldn't take it any longer. I packed a small bag, just the essentials, and moved into a modest, inexpensive apartment. It wasn't much, but it was mine. The apartment was cold, impersonal, and it felt as though the walls were closing in on me. I could barely afford to eat, and when I fell ill, there was no one to care for me. I tried to cook, but even that was difficult. The loneliness was suffocating, and the weight of my mortality seemed to press down on me every day. When I got sick, no one was there to bring me soup or comfort me. I was left alone with my pain. I would often lie in bed, tears streaming down my face, asking myself the same question: will I die here in this tiny apartment, forgotten by the children I once loved so deeply? Have they already forgotten me? I can't help but wonder, did I bring this upon myself? Have my children become unhappy because of my actions, my mistakes? Or is this simply the consequence of a life spent focused on work and neglecting the needs of my family? Did I truly fail them? Or is this just the inevitable result of a life lived in pursuit of the wrong things? These questions plague me every day. I question my own worth as a father and whether I'm truly receiving what I deserve. I wonder if my children even remember the sacrifices I made for them, or if they simply see me as an inconvenience, a burden they'd rather forget. My heart aches with the weight of regret, and I can't shake the feeling that I've lost everything. In this apartment, in this loneliness, I often lie awake at night, wondering where it all went wrong. Did I deserve this? Did I give enough? Or was I too consumed by my pride and ambition to notice that my children were slipping away from me? My life, once filled with purpose and joy, now feels like an endless cycle of mistakes and missed opportunities. I long for the love and warmth of family, but it feels like a distant memory, something I can never quite reach again. As we reach the end of this heartfelt story, it's hard not to reflect on the painful lessons of sacrifice, family, and the pursuit of balance in life. From the choices made to the moments of regret, we have witnessed the deeply emotional journey of a father who sought to do right by his children, only to find himself lost and alone in his later years. It raises important questions about relationships, the value of time spent with loved ones, and the true meaning of giving. So, what have you learned from this story? Do you see your own family dynamics in a new light? Have you considered the importance of nurturing relationships before it's too late? I invite you to share one thing you've learned and how you plan to apply it in your own life. Leave your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear your reflections. If this video resonated with you, please leave your comment below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more content that touches on life's most meaningful lessons. Thank you for watching, and remember to cherish the people who matter most.